Woman from West Virginia is recognized. Strike the last word.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to reinforce some of what my colleague, Mr. Welch, was just referring to on this legislation, that brand name pharmaceuticals have anywhere from 5 to 12 years to protect their product before the generic competition can set in. So they have 5 to 12 years to recoup their R&D, make the profits, whatever's necessary, whatever's appropriate, and then they expire, and then generics are supposed to have the opportunity to take off after that. But what's happened is that, and I think that's what Mr. Welch was trying to express, and I'll try as well, is that pharmaceuticals that have the lead on that drug are not cooperating and allowing the generics to have access, and they're dragging out the process. And as a result, there are penalties built into this existing statute right now that are supposed to be fined. But what we found out through the FDA, no fines have been levied yet. After all this time, none have been levied. And even those, the way that they've assigned the values, they're so low that the pharmaceuticals can still pay the penalties because of the amount of money they're making on the main drug will offset that. So it's built in to allow it to continue with it. So this whole idea of allowing people to have access to it is long overdue, and I think it's one that people have to realize. Without this, as long as people can drag out 3, 5 years longer and not being able to have a generic, the patients, the individuals, the consumers out there are paying thousands of dollars more annually for some of their medicine that they could otherwise get. And the federal government is being inundated with additional costs. Billions of dollars are going to be confronted with what they have to, what they're paying for Medicare and Medicaid because of this high-priced drug that should have been moved over to the generic sector effort. So, look, this thing is, Mr. Welch and I have been working on this. Last year, we were very close. There were some negotiations going on at the end of last year under the 21st Century Cures, and it broke down at the end. So the matter here is, when are we going to do this? When are we going to step up and say to the pharmaceuticals, you have to stop. You've got to turn over. That's the law. That's the law. You're supposed to turn that over. So it's when are we going to fix this? If not now, when? So, Mr. Chairman, I'm hoping that we can get, if this is going to be withdrawn, as I understand it could very well be, let's at least, can we get a commitment that you will help us bring the pharmaceuticals back to the table so we can have a meaningful adult conversation with them about how we can get the generics back to the market in a timely fashion without costing the federal government billions of dollars. Can you give us some assurance that you'll help us?
You know, Mr. McKinley, as I mentioned to you earlier this morning, I'm happy to work with you on this legislation. There are some issues in it today